Hey guys, Matt here. This is my review of Brightburn. This movie is directed by David Yarovesky, who previously directed a movie called The Hive. This movie stars Elizabeth Banks, David Denham, and Jackson Dunn. Brightburn is the story of a boy who crash lands a spaceship outside of a farmhouse and is raised by a husband and wife couple. Does that story ring a bell? Because it should. Now imagine if that boy wasn't a symbol for good, but became a symbol for evil. That's what this movie explores. So right off the bat, if you haven't seen the trailer, this movie is a Superman parody. Now, parody doesn't always mean a bad thing. It doesn't always mean, silly, making fun of something. It's like a tribute. It's following the same storyline, but changing something, or loosely basing it off of something. Now, Brightburn, going into it, I was like, okay, this could be cool. In the comic books, there's a story called Superman Red Sun, where Clark Kent, his ship doesn't land in Smallville, Kansas, but rather Soviet Russia. There's another story about a character named Ultraman from Earth 2, who doesn't have a loving, nurturing upbringing. No. He has a very dark upbringing and is not raised by a, loving married couple, but instead like two alcoholics. And that story is very interesting. So I thought that's what this would be. But I was incorrect, for the most part. Now, Brightburn is about a man or a boy named Brandon Byers, who's raised by a married couple. And it starts out a lot like Clark Kent's origins. But then the movie takes a very dramatic twist and goes from, hey, what if Superman, used his powers for the wrong thing, and quickly becomes another one of those movies we've seen before, like The Omen or The Prodigy, or any movie where a married couple, they give birth to a child or they adopt a child. The child starts doing strange things like killing animals or destruction, and then eventually turns on the family. And that's what we get with this movie. They could have explored quite a few elements. They could have explored Brandon discovering his powers and then going across the United States and committing crimes and stuff. But all the bad stuff, all the horrific stuff, all the drama is contained literally within the small town and within the family. So, things they could have explored, they didn't. Clark Kent learned different powers as a boy, and so he adapted to different situations based on the power he had just learned. Here, I'm not going to spoil it, but Brandon, he learns about his powers through a third party. And they don't even explore his origins that well. They don't say where he came from or why he was sent to Earth. He's just told, hey, here's your mission. You can do things. And it all happens like that. All the things he learns he can do, they happen too quickly. So there's no build-up. And you don't even really care about the characters. Now, the only reason I would say this is like a Superman story is because his powers are very similar. And though they do attribute to some pretty horrific deaths, there's really not a lot to grasp on from this movie. It becomes Cabin in the Woods very quickly, where it's like just to do violence and dark things just for the sake of doing it. It really doesn't tell a story, because as soon as it's over, you're like, oh wait, that's it? Like, they didn't progress this or focus on this more, and you would have liked to have seen more explored, and they just didn't give it to you. So because of that, I'm going to give Brightburn a C+. Started out good, the concept was interesting, but after Brandon starts becoming bad, there's really not a whole lot to it, except for stuff we've seen before, just with Superman-like abilities. So, until next time, guys, see ya.